that's the homie. I want to be tomorrow.
Niece, I saw you called. I was caught up over here in a whole conversation. My bad. I called you back a few minutes ago. I'm sorry.
High school sophomores, juniors,
What up? Everybody hit that like button.
with California Baptist University's pre-college credit program. Courses are fully online and the first class is free. Classes start January 6th. Apply for free at calbaptist.edu/PCC.
What up? Everybody hit that like button on your way in. Like it, share it.
The station leading the way with exclusive interviews, stimulating conversation, and intellectual discourse that empowers, enlightens, and informs. Follow the leader at KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about. Keep following the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Hey, so I'm calling your show, 'cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Like it up.
Just let me ask.
Like it, share it.
What's going on? Because it takes two to
Welcome in. What up? What up? What up?
So she's driving me insane. Dark stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, and I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice
Yeah.
so we can see the light.
What up?
See the light. Hi, Auntie Bev here with another word to help you build your vocabulary during Black History Month. The word is sapphire. It's a noun. A sapphire is another word for a sassy mammy that white Southerners used to describe black women they characterized as loud, angry, rude, domineering, and emasculating to their men. Sapphire became a popular character on the Amos and Andy show in the 50s. It was played by a woman named Ernestine Wade. Sapphire. Today we know it as a transparent, precious stone. But back then, it was a derogatory term. Add that word to your vocabulary bank and make it your time, your shine. Auntie Bev speaks during Black History Month.
I love Auntie Bev because she's going to give us a new term. The reason why I'm playing this at the beginning of the show is because over the Valentine's Day weekend, I had a conversation Look at Andy. Andy just smiling. I had a conversation at the cigar lounge, and a sister brought this to my attention. She said back then, a sapphire was a derogatory term, right? A derogatory term. Wasn't a flattering term for black women. She said, but if you look up the definition of this term, she said, it'll describe most modern women under the guise of my truth and attitude and boss B and all of these. And she started using rappers, Meg Thee Stallion, Glorilla. She started talking about all of this. I said, whoa, I never looked at it from that lens. And then she said, because of social media, she said, you haven't met an original black woman. They're all derivative of a negative derogatory term, a sapphire. I said, what? Tonight's topic, Sapphire Purgatory. You in Sapphire Purgatory? Is modern black femininity derivative? Independence without self-healing is destructive. 1-800-920-1580. I want to know your thoughts. The commodification of black femininity. Is identity now a product? Question, if black femininity is shaped by social media algorithms, are black women still the author of their own identity? Or have they become the product? 1-800-920-1580. And I would say the same is true of men. The same is true of men. Studies on algorithmic bias reveal that social media disproportionately amplifies stereotypes about black women, ensuring that only hypersexualized, hyper-independent, or emotionally unavailable portrayals gain visibility. 1-800-920-1580. The performance of empowerment. Is it healing or just another cage? Question, has social media convinced black women that looking healed is more important than actually healing? Who wants to have a conversation tonight? Sisters, are you derivative of the lowest part of black femininity in our society? That's what the sister told me. And this sister has 5-6 degrees. She's a professor. She said most black women are simply derivative of a caricature, of a stereotype. They've bought in. Ladies, if you disagree, call me, 1-800-920-1580. Empirical insight. The rise of soft life and divine feminine aesthetics on Instagram and TikTok show that many women engage in performative empowerment, where wellness is aestheticized rather than internalized. Oh my God. You got the yoga pants and the yoga mat, but you don't have moksha. 1-800-920-1580. Somebody talk to me. The hyper-independent black woman, feminist, liberation, or psychological entrapment? 1-800-920-1580. I just said it goes for men as well. Men aren't outside of this, outside of social media's influence. But can you have a conversation about women without bringing men into it? Can you do that? Is it possible? Can we dissect this area? And trust me, I know that we know all too well, men and our toxicity and our control, and we know, and our lack of emotional availability, our lack of having the skill set to actually articulate our feelings. We know this ain't about us, though. Empirical insight here. Neuroscientific research shows that chronic hyperindependence is a dysregulated nervous system response, a trauma adaptation rather than a sign of true strength or self-sufficiency. 1-800-920-1580. The algorithm of oppression. Is social media really just another, or is social media really a digital plantation? If social media algorithms decide which images of Black women get visibility, are Black women truly engaging in self expression, or are they merely performing within a controlled system? 1 800 920 1580. Ladies, I need to hear from you because I think only you could answer. Empirical Insight, Dr. Safia Noble's research on algorithmic bias in search engines and social media demonstrates that Black women are systematically categorized into roles of hypersexuality, aggression, or servitude, limiting the scope of their digital identity. True or false? 1 800 920 1580. Who wants to talk about it? The luxury of softness. Is Black femininity only valid when it's exclusive? Question. If Black femininity is now being defined by luxury, ease, and exclusivity, does this mean softness is only for the financially privileged? Y'all want to have a real conversation? It's Monday. I'm here to turn over tables. Empirical Insight. Historically, Black women's femininity has been defined by struggle and resilience, while recent social media movements push a capitalist version of femininity where rest and ease are contingent upon wealth and materialism. Who wants to talk? 1 800 920 1580. The trauma economy. Is Black women's pain more marketable than their joy, than their evolution, than their healing? 1 800 920 1580. Get over here. Get in here. Question. If social media engagement thrives on controversy and dysfunction, do Black women unconsciously capitalize on their own trauma for visibility? I know I asked the real questions. Do you want to have a real conversation? Social media studies indicate that posts discussing toxic relationships, trauma bonding, and struggle narratives receive higher engagement than those centered on joy, healing, or healthy love. From the ride or die to discard and replace. Oh no. Oh no. Are y'all ready? 1 800 920 1580. All right. From ride or die to discard and replace. Have Black women swapped one toxic relationship model for another? Yeesh. Listen, this is why I'm the voice of reason, because I'm not afraid to have these kinds of conversations. We want to have healthy relationships, right? You can only have a healthy relationship with two people that have been engaging their shadow. If you're not engaging your shadow, you or your partner, you guys will probably not have a healthy relationship. It's really that simple. Empirical Insight. Psychological research on attachment trauma suggests that both hyper-loyalty and hyper-detachment are trauma responses, meaning both ride or die and discard and replace mindsets stem from the same root issue, the fear of abandonment. I'm over it. I'm over here unbothered. Wrong. That's a post. Your spirit is hella bothered, which is why you posted it. 1 800 920. I wanted Andy, like, boy, what you starting? I got to start it. If hypersexuality is framed as empowerment, but it's also the primary way Black women are objectified, is it actually liberating or just another system of control? 1 800 920 1580. Get to your phone lines. We want to have a real conversation. Here's the empirical insight. Dr. Tommy J. Curry, author of the book The Man Not, former professor at Texas A&M, His insight and his work on black male objectification shows that hypersexuality is a colonial construct, meaning that hypersexual imagery of black women doesn't originate from self expression, but from external fetishization of the sisters. 1 800 920 1580. Have you bought into it, ladies? 1 800 920 1580. Somebody talk to me. The aestheticization, aestheticization, that's a word, of feminine power. Do black women actually have more agency or just better marketing? OnlyFans? Gosh. Question: if black femininity is now marketed as powerful, does that mean black women have more control over their lives, or are they just being sold a new illusion? Empirical insight. The paradox of the strong black woman archetype is that while it appears empowering, it often serves to justify the continued lack of structural support for black women's emotional, financial, and psychological well-being. 1 800 920 1580. I want to know what you think about tonight's topic, the erasure of multidimensional black femininity. Can black women exist beyond social media's script? Who made baby hair just the thing to do? Who do you understand? Talk the same, look the same, dress the same, act the same. Are we back to the days of sapphires? The sassy, emasculating, disrespectful, bad attitude. Have we normalized the sapphire for today's black woman? I got to ask the question. 1 800 920 1580. Somebody get to me right now. Is it, if every visible version of black femininity is rooted in a stereotype, where does that leave the black women who don't fit the script? 1 800 920 1580. Let's go, let's go, let's go. When I come forward, the voice of reason is going to delve even deeper into this powerful concept. If black femininity is being shaped, packaged, and sold by forces outside of black women's control, then who actually owns black femininity? And is it still a form of empowerment if the empowered identity is not chosen, but algorithmically aligned? When we come forward, more from the VOR. Ooh. Y'all calling or no? Hey, this one of them ones. That was a good opener. This one of them ones. This is one of them ones. Y'all get on the phones. Can y'all talk to me this week? Last week we struggled. Can y'all talk to me this week? I want to hear from the sisters. Brothers, you're welcome to call as well. Can everybody hit the like button, the share button, the super chat, whatever? Can you guys get in here? Nzinga, I need to hear from you tonight. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic? I need to hear from Mimi. I need to hear from all of y'all. Are y'all derivative? Are you guys merely knockoffs of each other? Where is the original black woman, the sister that is in her peace, that is cultivated from within, the sister that's not worried about getting attention from social media? Pay attention to my spiritual growth. Where's she at? See, this is me doing downward dog without a man behind me. Come on! Brothers, call in. We ain't heard from Truemonger in weeks. Get in here, True. Get in here. The phone, we only got one person on the line, man. We need people on the line. Let's go. I want to talk to y'all early. Let's get it. So I'm gonna say it. Women that are 35 and under, the internet runs them. So why don't you say it on the phone? I would rather you say it so people can hear. I would love for you to call in and say that. 1-800-920-1580. Put the number in. Put the number in. Put the number in. Good evening.
Don here, your pop culture boy, aka your pop culture grandpapa. I want to talk about the music industry, a strategy the music industry have been utilizing since the dawn of time, and that's the utilization of the copy-paste formula. The industry is filled with carbon copies, a copy of a copy of a copy. And it's not only the music business that fully indulges in the copy-paste formula, giving us lone sons and daughters for decades now, but all industries, because if something works, you do it again and again and again until the wheels fall off that bit. In this video, let's explore the complex and fascinating world of carbon copies in music, why carbon copies exist in the first place, who are carbon copies of today's music industry, and why your faves being replaced won't go away anytime soon. I am Donnie Pop Culture Boy, and let's get into it. Catastrophic. The copy-paste formula is a growing phenomenon in the music industry, and a lot of us don't even know it's happening. I have a hot take. The music industry isn't and has never been original from the start, and even if they want to be, they can't, because the music industry is fundamentally a business that relies on mass production for unfathomable profits. And a business like that cannot rely on originality, because originality is risky, and I know a lot of people cry for originality, something new, hip, and fresh, but when they get it, they go, what the f is this? Yeet? And whenever the music industry finally brings forth a new pop star that's somewhat original, even that person is a stereotype or a teeny version of someone else that this current generation or audience is unaware of or less privy to. This is why the music industry keeps creating sons and daughters, taking certain attributes from prototypes to build their perfect new and improved future stars. The rinse repeat method is prolonged until the wheels fall off. And even then, the broken wheel is still pushed because a new idea might make even less money. In music marketing and advertising, repetition breeds familiarity, which builds trust and confidence, which can also be linked to nostalgia. A little side note, this also happens in Hollywood. They produce...
Listen. Has black femininity become derivative? of a stereotypical term, a derogatory term. Back in the day, they were called a sapphire. Sapphire is a term that can refer to different things. But the term we're using, or the definition we're using today, is not a transparent precious stone, typically blue. No, a stereotype portraying black women as aggressive and overly assertive. Has the sapphire made a comeback? And because of social media's influence, are our sisters being programmed to be sapphire-like? 1-800-920-1580. I want to know, what are some of the similarities that can be drawn between the derivatives created for black women in the 1960s, 70s versus the modern day toxic culture that is heavily promoted? Are we marketing these archetypes as empowerment to ease the fact that we lack leadership, focus, and direction towards higher principles? It's 95 degrees. Huh? Huh? What connections can be drawn between attachment styles and these black female derivatives? How might generational CPTSD and epigenetics correlate with the further development of these derivatives? Are you derivative? Every brother thinks he's a Mac and a player and cool, and he thinks that's all he has to be to pull the woman, and plus have a little piece of money. What happens when a woman comes to a man and says, I don't care about your money? You're going to have to bring a higher level of emotional understanding, of self-understanding, a higher level of self-healing. You got to have some self-victories, brother. What if women flipped it that way? But women make it easy for men, right, to show up with their money and their paper and their influence, because women are still attracted to power, right? So you got a lot of powerful dudes who have done no profound, powerful work within themselves. Ooh, are we doomed to repeat toxic cycles with these low vibrational mindsets and non-accountability due to our unwillingness to face who we are and discard who we pretend to be? What connections can be drawn between parental wounds or generational trauma and the adherence to these quote-unquote roles? 1-800-920-1580. Is the sapphire back in full effect? Is Sexy Red a sapphire? Is Lotto a sapphire? Is Cardi B a sapphire? Ooh, is Jocelyn a sapphire? Can we just keep naming? And are these sapphires some of your favorite people to watch on social media? How has our dysfunction been so normalized to the point that we are actively embracing the stereotypes we say we despise? In what way do we contribute to self-sabotage by embracing ideas and archetypes created not by us, but for us to demean us? When I come forward, I'm going to the phone lines. Let's get it. Ooh, Cardi and Red are spiritual venereal disease. I'm annoyed because earthly minerals need to be need not be messed with in such a toxic. That's what they used to call. Sapphire was a mammy who talked shit, who was loud, aggressive, had a bad attitude, and emasculated her man. That's what white Southerners called black women who exhibited that attitude. A fucking sapphire. Get to your phone lines Hey, if this topic is banging, support me. Support your brother. Support the channel. Support. You can go to my Cash App, $ Zoe what Netter. Zoe what Netter. Go to my Cash App. Please support the best way you know how. Hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe. Share this with somebody who needs to hear this information. We're having all these conversations about relationships, but nobody is talking about this. Look at all that shit. Look is stupid. Look, all that shit talking is stupid. Okay. Yo, what up? Y'all get in here. Support this channel. Has anybody ever done this? Have you heard this topic before? Has anybody ever heard this topic before? Anywhere? Man, Gilbreth, my guy. What up, sir? Let's get this one started for the collections. People are being blocked and still popping up. That's suspicious. Yeah. You're 100% right, Nzinga. Hey, Herschel, the topic is crazy right now. The topic is literally banana. Attila, are you talking to me? I'm lost. Help me. Yo, 57 people in here. Only 46 likes. Hey, every video you sent, we gonna play for sure. You have heard about this topic. No, I'm talking about tonight. Not in our conversation. Lord. What up, Eddie? Oh, we still got 2 minutes. Hey, thank you, John Gilbreth. Everybody hit the like button for John Gilbreth. He only got 6 likes. It's 56 people in here. What we like to do for people that support the channel, that hit the little $ at the bottom, right? When people do that, what we tend to do is hit the like button to show them that we appreciate what they were able to do that we might not be able to do or that we haven't done yet. We like to say thank you to everybody that shows love and support. John Gilbreth is one of our regulars. He's family up in here. So please hit the like button and let him know that you appreciate his contribution to the channel. And again, that's the least we all could do is hit a like button or a share button or a subscribe button. If you have it within your means to support the channel, we don't ask for a lot. We call it twos and fews. And there's a couple of ways to do it. You can go to the little $ at the bottom of the chat, or you can send it directly to my Cash App. Moderators, please put my Cash App in the chat to show people how they can support directly. Eddie, what up? C. Floyd. 62 people, 54 likes. We moving up steadily. Thirty seconds. You do, bruh. Ray Grady came through the other day. What upper Shug Mac 510? What uppers?
Can you be too independent, and is that linked to trauma? The answer to both of those questions is yes. So in this video, we're going to go through signs that you might be hyper-independent, how hyper-independence comes about to begin with, the impact that it has on your relationship with yourself and other people, and steps to move forward. But first, if you're new here, my name is Simone Saunders, and I'm a licensed therapist in Calgary, Alberta. I upload weekly to this channel, so hit that subscribe button and that like button, and let's get started. So typically when we think about independence, we think of it as a good thing, and it is a good thing. But what also can be true is that when we're too independent, it can leave us feeling isolated. So you're probably wondering, how does hyper-independence differ from independence? So with hyper-independence, there's a drive to need no one, and a fear of depending on other people. And typically this stems from not being able to rely on the people closest to them. So if you struggle with hyper-independence, here's 6 things that you might notice about yourself. Number 1, you dislike needy people. Number 2, it's very hard for you to ask for help, and there's a fear of feeling burdensome to other people. Number 3, you have a hard time with vulnerability. Number 4, you're typically very hard to get to know, especially on a deep level. Number 5, you're an overachiever, whether that's career-wise or socially or in some other pursuit. And number 6, you're typically the strong friend. Now, if you're related to any of those, it's probably a sign that you should keep watching. While those who are hyper-independent typically are very attached to that sense of themselves, what's also true is that hyper-independent people typically experience extreme loneliness, self-criticism, or relationships that lack a lot of emotional intimacy. So let's talk about where hyper-independence comes from and how it's related to trauma. Often when hyper-independence develops as a coping mechanism, it's developed because there's a lack of ability to rely on those that are closest to you, and typically that means your caregivers. I've touched briefly on emotional neglect and parental.
Woo! She cooking, she cooking, she cooking, she cooking. If modern black femininity is derivative, what is it derived from? A legacy of strength or an inheritance of suffering repackaged as empowerment? Mary J. Blige, anyone? Oof. Listen to her records. I'm sorry. We're not going to have a real conversation. Music is programming, right? Never mind. To what extent has Western hyper-individualism served Black women from ancestral frameworks of healing, community, and self-definition? I don't want a derivative woman, a woman that is patchwork put together from all the other hot girls or it girls. I want a woman that not only discovered what was wrong, but became the internal architect of who she wanted to be. 1-800-920-1580. Is the independent black woman archetype a form of liberation or merely an internalized capitalist model of self-exploitation? 1-800-920-1580. How does a derivative identity function as spiritual purgatory, where one is neither fully oneself nor fully accepted by the society they mirror? 1-800-920-1580. Is the Sapphire trope an unconscious mechanism of control, ensuring black women are too emotionally occupied with strength to demand systematic transformation? I got so many questions. We got callers on the line. We got callers on the line. We got callers on the line. Has the Sapphire made a return? Have we normalized the Sapphire? What is the Sapphire? A stereotype portraying black women as aggressive and overly assertive. 1-800-920-1580. We got callers on the line. Let's get them in here. Attila, Houston, Texas, you're up first. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Hola, what's up, cute?
What up, niece? What are your thoughts?
This is so good. Okay. So first of all, I wanted to shout out a comment because Mimi made a comment in the chat and she said, so sapphires are loud talking pretty girls but not necessarily talented. I think that comes from you mentioning like the sexy reds and gorillas and whatever. I do think that's a part of it. I see them more as opportunists, to be honest, because they'll pivot real quick when the opportunity presents itself. Amber Rose, somebody brought her up, right? Like, now I think she's on the MAGA train, right? So that makes sense because, again, they're going for a gimmick. That's not really who they are. This is an image that they're presenting, right? And we don't know this, so we can't say. We just say what we see. But I think the other side of this, though, is if you're an unattractive woman, you're more likely to get labeled with the sapphire label first. And I think part of that is because there's nothing that's really, like, appealing about your physical presence, meaning that people are not going to tolerate it. So for men, if what they use to barter or to, negotiate is money, women are going to use their looks. So if you don't have that, what do you have? A bad label.
Come on. Come on, keep cooking. Keep going.
There's so many layers to this, right? There's so many labels to this. And then the other side of this that I think both sides share, whether you're attractive or not, is that desperation to be seen or valued. And to me, that's like the core of the archetype that you're talking about. Because when you value yourself, you're not really looking for external validation like that. To be honest, if it comes, you don't even notice. You know, it just kind of flies across the wayside. So, you know, people are talking about age in the chat too. Age don't have nothing to do with that. You can definitely be an old sapphire, or as Jack said, he said something about pebbles.
He said it.
It's so crazy. I was like, not pebbles. But I mean, like, you could be an old sapphire too. Like, you trying to compete with the young girls. You can't even really mentor or be there for a daughter, a niece, or a sister, or a cousin, because you have yet to resolve the issues that lie within you.
Wait.
That's why a lot of women hate their daughters.
Stay right there. Don't go nowhere. Attila is on fire. Has the sapphire returned to prominence? When we come forward, we shall continue this hot topic. Woo-wee. If you are in peace, chances are you won't be accepted by society, and definitely not if you are authentic. You know you got to get in here tapped in, Nikki from the SIP. Tonight's topic is one of them ones, classic VOR style. Old pimps love young sapphires. Ooh, say that on the air. Say that on the air.
Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publication.
No, Glorilla is not. I repeat, is not unattractive.
Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter.
I repeat, is not unattractive.
For behind the scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected.
Tapped in. If you don't get on this line, you done dropped 2 bars. Prison bars that the world's got to hear. Tapped in. I need you. I need you tonight. No, Glorilla is attractive. Whoever says she's not attractive, you know, once she got her teeth fixed, and everybody can get, you know, some teeth servicing for sure. But once she got her teeth fixed, the girl looked like Regina from the Steve Harvey show. And everybody thought Regina was an attractive woman. I don't know anybody who saw young Regina and was like, she ugly. Nobody thought that. No one thought Regina was ugly. And that's exactly who that girl looked like. Yeah, once she got her teeth right, it pulled everything together like, oh, okay. Before she had the little baby shark.
Disturbing in our community, the African American community, is that we can talk about a thyroid, we can talk about cancer, breast cancer, AIDS even, but we won't deal with the mental, and that's an issue. I struggle with depression and anxiety. I would have to say I realized it about 2 years ago. I noticed the mood swings. Like, you know, one day I'd be up and the next day I'd be down, feeling like I don't want to go out in public, almost agoraphobic, like, too much to deal with, feeling really awkward in my skin, feeling out of sorts, you know, and just down, like Debbie Downer, like a dark cloud. And then there would be days where my brain wouldn't stop racing, which I would think of the most worst scenarios in the world, which would heighten my anxiety. And, you know, people were like, you just need to meditate and yoga and things like that. And I would do that, but my brain would still race. For me, there was no shame when I started to recognize it. It was like that I have to get some help because I'm the life of the party. And when I go dark, I go dark. I don't want to leave the house. And my friends started to notice me pulling back. And my father, who also had his issues with mental health, was really open about it, about his manic depression. But You know, as I think back, no one else really talked about it. It was hush hush, or he just crazy, or things like that. But my dad.
Man, I love Taraji P. Henson. We have to give her a collective digital hug, spiritual hug, because the transparency in that statement was absolutely necessary, because you never know who's listening and who can be, positively affected by what she said. She's normalizing the process of looking inward, introspection, maybe even going to get some mental health assistance from a mental health expert. That's the part that needs to be normalized. See, it's easy to post your healing journey, right, on Instagram, because you can fake the scenery. You can fake the activity and send the message that you're on the right path. But the reality of it is, one of the most life challenging and harrowing endeavors you could ever partake in is the spiritual process, is the process of unraveling the self, to reconstruct the self by your own hand, right? We talk about attachment theory a lot on this show. And if you don't do the healing, you can definitely dress up like you've healed. You can definitely take pictures of plates. You can take pictures of places. But what you can't do, and probably wouldn't want to do, is show what you really look like when you're actually fighting those internal demons. And what I'm saying that social media has done, they've kind of pimped our brokenness. And now brokenness seems cool. Brokenness seems fly. And I'm not saying, just understand this. Brokenness is ubiquitous. Okay, cool. But don't front like you're doing the work when in fact you're not. How does childhood emotional neglect manifest in adult relational dynamics? And why is it often misinterpreted as self-sufficiency? Listen to that. I was neglected and I learned to take care of myself, and that's why I'm strong and I ain't worried about nobody else. That's a trauma response, right? Or Black women's attachment wounds exploited to perpetuate hyper-resilience as a form of social currency. I don't need you is the new word of empowerment. I don't need a man. Ooh, 1-800-920-1580. Does epigenetic trauma distort the way Black women experience vulnerability, trust, and intimacy? If so, can femininity be reclaimed without healing? Hell to the no. Same is true for brothers. No matter how much money you get and how much power you get, you still broken, Kanye. Oops, I'm sorry. If a strong Black woman is conditioned to suppress her emotional needs, does she unconsciously select partners who reinforce this deprivation? 1-800-920-1580. Is the Sapphire back? The sassy, disrespectful, emasculating, overly aggressive, and overly assertive woman. This was the term white slave owners and white Southerners gave Black women who exhibited this overly aggressive and overly assertive posture. Is the angry Black woman the reincarnation of this derogative term? Atala, your thoughts. What are your final thoughts on this?
Yeah, I got several thoughts. I was listening.
Go ahead.
Number one, you can't say you don't need what you feel is unattainable. So on one hand, we might say that there's a shortage of good Black men, but then you say you don't need them. The real issue there is your lack consciousness. You feel that that's not attainable for you, ergo, you don't need them. That's a deflection. That's the same stuff you would have seen on the playground. Somebody gets rejected and they're like, fine, I won't be your friend. Like, that's kind of what that sounds like. It sounds immature. So there's some maturity there that needs to happen, right? Number two, the comment you made about the masters or the white overseers, they set that dynamic up, right? Where essentially they want the woman to be over the man. Like that, this has been engineered in us since the days of Willie Lynch. We were just talking about age a minute ago in the chat, older women versus younger women. Is that not all Willie Lynch? It literally lines up.
That's Willie Lynch.
Right?
Ageism,
Some people say
racism,
that the letter,
sexism, classism. Yes.
right. Some people say that the letter is not real, but I mean, look at the outcome. Right? Like, there's a reason why, like Mimi said, you've got grandmas that are 35 years old, whatever the case. And so a lot of this, I think, just kind of comes down to us not healing our wounds, right? Number one. But the other two is, or the other third point, I think, would be, I don't know how to say this without it sounding like offensive, but I'm going to just say it. I think that some of us, we've been like pushed down so much, whether that be by family or, external circumstances, society, whatever. I think as women, that there's a certain pride in being a little bit more braggadocious or a little bit more brazen and in your face. Mm-hmm. And it is packaged as like a sort of empowerment because you've been disempowered for so long. So you don't really have a correct gauge of what that would actually look like in retrospect to still being like in a dynamic with maybe a more masculine man, whatever the case. Oof. The first point I want to make is that a woman being assertive is not a threat to your masculinity. So if you feel like it is, to me, that's an issue that you would need to work on as a man.
Agreed.
Like, I don't understand how you can raise assertive daughters and want them to be able to handle themselves around men and around the foolishness that's out here, but then not want that same aspect to come out in your wife. Your wife is going to be the one raising your daughter. Wouldn't she have to see the example? It's not just about what we've been told, but it's about what's been modeled to us.
Right.
So if I'm acting out of character, or if there's something about me that is somewhat off in retrospect to how I'm able to receive and give love, that's because what was modeled to me was incorrect.
Ooh,
right?
Yes.
So first you would have to acknowledge that. You don't find empowerment by being the opposite of what you saw, and nor are you going to find it in being the exact same thing. You have to find your own way. So I think we're just kind of in this weird flux of trying to figure out what actually fits us. Like, do we go back to traditional times as our grandparents? Do we press forward into these new soft parenting techniques? Like, what do we do? Right? So I think that's kind of where the Black community is at. And I really feel like we got to stop listening to external influences because other groups don't have the same issues that we do. They might have similar issues, but it's not exactly the same because they don't have the servitude and the degradation that we've had to experience as a people. So there's also that.
Wow.
But then also in our connections with each other, our relationships, I think you just have to make a decision to understand how you want to navigate and how the person that you're with navigates. If they kind of want to be the leader in the dynamic all the time and that doesn't really flow with you, like actually speak up and say that. There's nothing wrong with, like I said, being assertive, but I think there's a line that's crossed when you're trying to damage someone's ego to puff yourself up, right? That's more so narcissism. So again, you have to do a lot of self-checks, and I just don't think we do a whole lot of those because, again, we're used to being on the bottom, constantly trying to rise to the top, even if it's on top of each other. That's the crabs in the barrel. So
wow.
Yeah,
Good stuff. Good stuff. Attila, guess what you just did?
How about Houston?
Houston, Texas is in the building, but don't go nowhere. We got Murfreesboro, Tennessee. We got Denver, Colorado. The fire is just getting started. Let's go. Woo. Get to your phone lines. Let's go. Yo, this shit fire. I don't know what y'all think. This shit right here. That first hour got up out of here. This how I know it's fire. Where is Nikki? Nikki, I need your wisdom this evening, child. I need it. We only got one super chat for this haymaker of a show. Can everybody support the channel or go to my Cash App? Let me see if anybody has Cash App me. Thank you. Neek is the night. We got one Cash App, and I appreciate it. Thank you. We got one Cash App. Neek is the night, and I appreciate it. All right. Come on, guys. Support the channel. If you love what we're doing here tonight, support the channel. Now, you know, we had a stupid, huge storm last week, midweek. So it was like, I think it was like Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday. Boy, do you know the CO2s is still over 600? The air quality is still fucked up from the fires. The first hour has formed. Like, yes, it did. It got up out of here. The CO2s gone. I mean, it's still happening. It's at 6:45. Neek is in here. I don't know if she's in here still, but she did send a Cash App. So listen, it's gonna be that way. Yeah, it's gonna be that way for a minute, John, for sure. Yeah, it's gonna be that way.
Your relationship is in trouble, I'm the dude to call. Has your soulmate become your cellmate? Does black love still exist? What are your bedroom turn-offs? Fantasies and fetishes? Financial infidelity? I'm dating a fat person. Are they
Hey,
worth the
everybody
wait?
say
Trust me,
hello.
it's gonna be crazy.
Lurkers, say hello.
The child wasn't his, and you still had to pay child support.
It's a very heated topic.
How is that right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions I want to ask you.
I was like, is this gonna be a war up there?
Damn.
Neek is the night.
Betrayal has been committed. Hit you with a bad touch routine. How does he maintain his humposity?
likes it when it pinches my nips.
Why can't you open up, brother?
I'm a karate man on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses. Yeah.
How do you write women so well?
So Williams. Reason and accountability. The voice of reason.
And welcome back to The Factor. Uncensored depression can manifest in different ways for everyone. According to a new study, it looks a bit different in black women. Those symptoms can look like stress, self-criticism, and even sleep disturbances. Let's bring in our next guest to talk about this. Therapist, Dr. Christine Belliard, and Saudi attorney, LMFT. Glad to have you both here on The Factor Uncensored. So when we say depression can look different in black women, tell me how it manifests itself, besides what we've said here already tonight.
I will say both of us are therapists, and oftentimes when we get calls, I'll say that someone may call and say, you know what, I feel like I'm just not handling things how I should. It's almost as if they are nervous that they're not handling even more things. So it can come out with, there's quite a bit of stress, but then also I should be doing more. Why can't I handle this? Almost as if they're supposed to be able to handle the world, and if they're not, then there's a problem.
Is this because of generational issues, because women saw their mom handling it despite being depressed or whatever? They just push through all the time.
Absolutely. So it's generationally in the family of origin, but it also is historically. Like, as black people, our survival was built on being tough. So that gets passed down generation to generation. So it's inside the family that there is a idea that you do need to push through, that I'm going to toughen you up because the world is going to be hard on you. And then you go out into the world, and the world is hard. So there's no place for black women to really show despair, show sadness, cry, right? So those feelings get repressed. And when anything is repressed, it turns into depression. And if it can't be manifested through your thoughts and your feelings, then it'll show up in your body. So there are a lot of complaints.
Dr. Belliard, is it a possibility that becomes angry black woman too?
Well, I will say anger is a secondary emotion.
Because if you're holding stuff down,
For sure.
you know, it comes out,
It can be, but the stereotype of the angry black woman, where now you're trying oftentimes to fight against that stereotype.
Right,
I
right.
don't want to be pegged that way. So I do repress. But like a pressure cooker, something's going to eventually explode. If it's through anger, that secondary emotion. But it really is, how do we get to that primary emotion where it's okay for you to be sad or for you to know that you can't control everything? That's not possible. Like, it's okay for you to be human.
Weak theory.
Exactly.
Or that you're fighting against. You don't want to be weak because you saw your mom handle a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff, which honestly is a trauma response. She had to handle those things.
Right.
So the beauty is we're one of the first generations where we're able to actually process so much generational stuff. A lot of my work with women is about how can you be okay with being compared to doing, where you're having to produce figurative.
And here's the cold part. They cooking. They are cooking with the rarest grease. You hear me? I'm saying truffle oil. Do you understand me? That expensive saffron oil. Ooh, that saffron oil. They cooking with the good stuff. But let me just say, what the therapist sister was breaking down, and a lot of people, we get it twisted. We don't understand many of these conversations, especially the answers that are given for one gender. A lot of times the answer is bi-directional. It's by gender too. The same thing she said about the women, no safe space to actually, decompress and allow and speak. And a lot of that is women too. Men as well. Men don't have a space to do it either. But tonight's topic, and she talked about the anger piece, and what I'm saying is we have to start policing. I remember when I was a child, we were policed. You couldn't just watch any and everything. There was, hold on, this ain't for you. This is grown folk stuff. Or, okay, go in the other room while this part is on. I'm going to call you and tell you when you can come back in. The internet has taken all of that away. Social media has taken all of that away. Oh, here come a sex scene. Get on out of here. I'm going to call you and tell you when to come back. Okay, come back now. You understand? That's what that was. And I'm not saying, okay, you censor everything. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is there were tiers to what was revealed to the child. Now the internet, everything is out there. Everything is available for consumption. And so I'm a music A&R guy back in the 90s. I'm at Loud Records. I'm one of the guys that are responsible for signing Exhibit to his first record deal. Paparazzi. But even in my early 20s, thematically, I felt hip hop change. I felt it change. I was like, yo, Public Enemy, BDP, X-Clan, Poor Righteous Teachers, Brand Nubians, like Heavy D. There was a thematic shift. And when it shifted to Bang Bang, Shoot 'em Up, Money, Clothes, and Garden Tools, when it shifted to that, because even before I became an executive, I was rhyming. And I felt the energy. You hear Dr. Dre talk about 808s, and he talks about the influence of the music and how that lower vibration actually triggers something in people. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, on top of that, you put raw, unfiltered Luke Skywalker, booty shaking music. You put NWA, It Don't Matter, Just Don't Bite It. Right? You gangsta. Right? You start putting a different energy. We even heard, and many of us even said, Tupac and Biggie spoke their own death into being. Before Biggie's second album is Ready. No, the first album is Ready to Die. That's the first album, Ready to Die. The second album is Life After Death. Like, come on. Like, we speak with the power of the tongue. So what I'm saying is now you couple that with the imagery of social media. Sapphire Purgatory, is that where we're living? The derivative nature of modern Black femininity in a world that appears to oscillate between hypervisibility and erasure. The modern Black woman exists within a liminal space, one defined not by her self-conception, but by the expectations, projections, and constraints of a culture that commodifies her resilience while dismissing her fragility. This is the Sapphire Purgatory, a recursive loop where strength is not a choice, but a social mandate, and femininity is weaponized against the very women expected to embody it. But if Black femininity is derivative, what exactly is it derived from? Is it a legacy of strength or an inheritance of suffering rebranded as empowerment to mask deeper existential wounds? More importantly, does the unwavering commitment to independence function as a liberatory ethos? Or does it reinforce a hyper-individualistic model of self-exploitation, ensuring that Black women are too emotionally occupied with survival to demand systematic transformation? The notion of modern Black femininity as a derivative identity suggests that it is not an organic, self-generated construct, but a reactionary posture shaped by historical trauma, epigenetic inheritance, and socioeconomic realities. The strong Black woman, SBW archetype, for example, finds its origin in slavery, where Black women were forced into labor, intensive roles that denied them the protection, delicacy, and romantic idealization granted to white women. Are y'all ready? 1-800-920-1580. Over time, this survival mechanism morphed into a cultural expectation, one that demanded unyielding resilience at the expense of emotional vulnerability. The very traits that were once adaptive in a hostile environment, emotional suppression, hyper independence, and self sacrifice, are now repackaged as empowerment. Despite, I don't even want to go even further, man. Let's just keep it a buck. Okay? Sapphire, the sassy, aggressive, emasculating, disrespectful, bad attitude. This was a slur to Black women. They were called sapphires. Has that spirit reemerged? Think of what Black women had to do to protect their sons and what grew out of it. Black mothers have a hyper protective energy over their sons. Not to say they don't have it over their daughters, but they have that hyper protective energy over their sons because they know what happens in the streets. Whether it's Oscar Grant, Trayvon Martin, they know there's this, oh, he's gone. I can't wait till he gets home. I'll feel better when he gets home. There's this, hey, I'm going to protect you by telling you how to navigate the streets. Many people talked about this before. The Black mother would marginalize, and talk about in slavery times, she would marginalize the speciality of her kids because she didn't want the slave master to see it, right? Marginalize it. Oh no, he's a simple boy. He could be special, but she didn't want them to know because the slave master would take him, right? That evolved into the street life, into the gang life. Oh, you take care of yourself out there. There's this overprotecting of the boy. But then the flip side is, grown out of the same toxicity, they teach the woman how to use what they got to get what they want. Big Mama told you, if you having sex and your purse is empty, child, what are you doing? The same strategies are born from the same trauma. Y'all don't want to have this conversation, do you? We got callers on the line. Has the Sapphire returned? Uncle Jimmy Ray, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
So what? How you doing, brother?
Man.
First time, long time.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for bringing the volunteer state in the building. I'm right down the way from you in Chattanooga, man. Talk.
Straight down I-24. I already know.
Come on. Yes, sir. Talk to me, brother.
To answer, I mean, you cooking. Shout out to the previous caller, the sister.
Atala.
She's cooking as well.
Yes.
To answer your question, the Black Sapphire is not only a movement, but it's a culture.
Woo.
And that culture involves multiple aspects: music, movies, the stories that we tell our children. Like you said, what Big Mama tells us. And it's a culture that's born to benefit the modern society. And that modern society, by and large, overworks and underpays our sisters, and they become the workhorse who is more gainfully employed in corporate America. Because if corporate America has a choice, they're much more comfortable employing our women than they are employing our men. And so brothers oftentimes have to turn to being entrepreneurs or business owners in order to fully maximize their earning ability. And so it creates an unsureness because entrepreneurship has its ups and downs. And women are born to seek security. And so this creates an atmosphere where the woman says, well, if I can only rely on myself, I don't need you. And so it greater divides our homes. I come at this from a different perspective. I'm a 46-year-old man trying to love a 36-year-old modern woman who is part of Gen Z, has a master's degree, and to your point about attachment styles, is a dismissive avoidant.
Woo.
And that dismissive avoidedness is born directly out of all of these other circumstances that we're talking about.
No, I hear you, brother. I hear you, brother. You cooking. And let me hit you with another piece. You said you were talking about all of this being born out of childhood trauma, right?
Yes.
So think of it this way. You said women are born to seek security. I would argue and say women are conditioned to seek security. See, that's where the derivative black woman trope is coming from today. They are taught to seek security. They're not taught to cultivate security from within. They're taught to receive it. Does that make sense to you, brother?
Absolutely, because you have a choice to either cultivate it and perhaps cooperate with a counterpart, or to never look outward, only look inward.
Stay with me, Uncle.
Try to create that for yourself.
Uncle Jimmy Ray, don't go nowhere. Stay with me. We on fire tonight. Jimmy Ray from Murfreesboro is cooking. Woo! Hey, yo, this one of the ones. I'm gonna listen to this shit back tonight. If they upload this shit tonight, because they've been on the uploads. They've been on the uploads lately. I'm about to listen to this shit tonight. Yo, this right here. Hey, Andy. Yeah. This right here? right here? This right here? This right here. Crazy. Commercial free, no music. It's just gonna fly like. Hey, this one of them ones. Is this one of them ones? Hey, put up an emoji, yo, if y'all feel like this one of them ones. Put up an emoji if you feel like tonight's topic is one of them ones. This one of them ones, I'm telling you. And look how fast the damn show is flying. That's how you know this one of them ones. This one of them ones right here. Everybody, please go to my Cash App. Just send us $3. Let's do a $3 challenge. Anybody who can and who hasn't done it today or tonight, if you haven't done it, go to my Cash App. Just send $3. Because this one of them ones. It's one of them ones. The witches on the west side right now. What? Thank you, Nzinga. $3 cash mob challenge. $3 cash mob challenge. Go to my Cash App. $3 cash mob challenge. Please support.
Live in a minute.
Yo, this shit cooking. It's different. Everybody hit that like button. Y'all should be telling everybody about the voice of reason. I'm melting. Hey, can somebody give Jake my Cash App? Attila just put it in there, Jake, right underneath your name. Nzinga did too. Thank you, Nzinga. $3 cash mob. Let's go. Cater.
Hey, I'm R.C. Blakes. There's a book that I wrote entitled Queenology, and the subtitle of the book is There's a Queen in You. What Queenology deals with is the consciousness of a woman and how she should be aware of who she is, what she possesses, her worth, and where she can go. Every woman is a queen, but most are unaware. So most women are simply sleeping queens. Today I want to talk about the broken consciousness of a woman. Stay right there, and I'll be back. These are the teachings that I did in the Queenology conference, actually. I'm revisiting the things that I taught in the Queenology conference. I won't, of course, be able to go through the entirety of the sessions all at once today, so we'll break this up into maybe 4 or 5 different segments. But I want to look today at the unconscious queen, uncovering the mindsets and the social constructs that have robbed you of your queen consciousness. Why is it that you do not know who you are? Why is it that you are a queen who's asleep in the throne room? Totally oblivious, totally unaware of your power or your status. Something, someone has robbed you of your consciousness.
Yes.
And what is consciousness in this respect? your self-knowledge. Something has robbed you as a woman of your self-knowledge. When I look at this generation of women, I see sleeping queens. When I listen to the labels that many women allow society to put upon you, and I look at the behavior that many women demonstrate simply to fit in, I am looking at a generation of sleeping queens.
Wake them up, Pastor.
Now, the intent of the entire father-daughter talk Queenology movement is to develop a sense of royalty in the minds of women. The concept of the woman's royalty, watch this, is not new in terms of God's reality, but the concept of the woman's royalty is new in terms of the woman's conscious mentality.
Yes.
You'd be amazed at how many women really buck against the whole concept of Queenology. I said women buck against the concept of Queenology. It's because she's been so conditioned by the world to see herself as a sex object, as a second-class citizen, as a slave to this or a slave to that. That when I say to you that God created you to be queen, it is so foreign that your mind cannot wrap around it. Now,
That's Brother R.C., what is it, R.C. Blake? Yes, Reverend Blake, man. He's cooking with the rarest grease as well. Uncle Jimmy, man. Uncle Jimmy Ray from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Give me your final thought, my good brother, please.
My final thought is I love the discussion. I love the topic. One parting thought that I would love to drop, and perhaps you can pick this up and run this ball across the line, is the impact that these tropes and these identities have in relationships. I once heard a very smart man once say that a relationship is a mirror.
Yes.
And when these women find themselves trying to partner, if it's with a sufficient man, that man is at some point going to hold up a mirror to you. And yourself is going to be revealed. And how do we build meaningful relationships, i.e. families, when we're battling against these identity crises?
I'll answer this really quickly for you. If she struggles to continue to pander when you hold up the mirror, that is your sign to leave. See,
Understood.
If you don't hold up the mirror, her performance is merely performative. It's not true. And I'm talking about people that are not healed. Do you understand? So if you're dealing with a woman that refuses to deal with herself, she's going to give you performative empathy. She's going to give you performative nurturing. It's going to be contingent upon your provision.
Performative femininity.
She's going to give you performative everything. You hold up that damn mirror and you see a struggle to maintain the performance, that's your sign, brother. See, what we do now is we will go into convincing mode. Well, wait a minute. Is there something else I could do? Wait a minute. How can I fix it? Wait, no. She show you that that was a performance. Get gone.
Especially when you're the anxious attachment that's typically drawn to the avoidant attachment.
Listen, they need you to get gone so they can recognize, wow, I blew it. If you stay there, they're empowered in their avoidance. Stay with me when we come forward. The voice of reason gonna keep the fire cooking. Woo, Lord. Yo, I don't know what y'all think. This shit here? This right here? This right here? He left. Jimmy. Uncle Jimmy Ray, we was gonna get your final piece because you wasn't done, but you left. So we gonna go to Cali Soul, then Nikki from the Sip. And those are two heavyweights. Zeraldo, don't do. So now that's the name, Nzinga? Nzinga. Nzinga calling me Zeraldo is crazy right now. She said she liked that name, and now she like, fuck it, that's the name. Zeraldo is crazy. She said, yes. Zeraldo. Tonight's rating 8.8. That's why it's at 8.8, because it's about women. And that's Zori Povich. And that means your grade is jaded. No, she told me she sent me a fucking screenshot, and she was like, I told them to put up a shot every time you mention Michael Jackson. Why are you in my fucking chat trolling? Why are you trolling, little girl? She's a damn Chris Brown fan. So I'm in here having a real conversation, and I told her, I said, I'm looking down and I'm seeing people with drinks, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? So after the show, she was like, did you check your text messages? I said, no. She said, check your text messages and call me back. I fucking checked the text message, and that's in there. Y'all watch, put up a drink every time he says Michael Jackson. It be your own kids. It be your own kids. It be your own kids. I said, wow, you gonna do me like that? Okay. We got 3 minutes before the break. I'm gonna check the Cash App and see if anybody supported. 3, Jacob, Melanie, and Lamont. We got 3 Cash Apps. I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful. I appreciate you guys. If you guys are loving it the way I think it is, the way I think it's going down, just you showing up lets me know that I'm on the right track. You showing up just lets me know I'm on the right track. I love y'all for that. Jacob, Melanie, and Lamont. Empress, easy 10 tonight. That's what I'm saying. Mimi, as deep as these topics be, you got to stop being biased. When we have conversations about women, how are we going to have real conversations about men? We always follow up with a male version of the same topic. We always balance out the conversation. Mimi said this was an 8.8. I hope tomorrow is about the menses. What, Mimi? So we can't hold a woman's foot to the fire by giving clinical, empirical support. We giving philosophical support. We giving all of that. I'm like, yo, Mimi, what's happening? 8.8. You know how hard we work on these damn topics? The work we do alone is worth the 8.8. I'm mad. I'm mad, Mimi. That's a shame. This one's an 8.8. I think that Sexy Red is pretty. Her tattoos cover it up. I don't think Sexy Red is ugly, but it's something about her spirit that seems deleterious.
Live in a minute.
What? Hey, man, it wasn't me.
Not to say it was you. It just they clean the carpet.
Is that what it is?
That's the, so it smell like ash, low key. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
You couldn't tell?
Is niggas scooting on the carpet?
I have no idea. I mean, with all the people that walk around this joint, I mean, we need a carpet wash from time to time.
Boy, Andy crazy. Balls sweat. Keep your shoes on.
What is beauty? Is it the description? Is it the thing that you see, the proportions, the height, the depth, the shadows? A picture by Michelangelo or the statue of his? What is beauty? Is it in your eye or it is there, out there? Or it is not in your eye or out there? You understand what I'm talking about? We say that's a beautiful thing. Beautiful architecture, marvelous cathedral, lovely painting. It's out there. Or is it in the eye? Because it's been trained, it's been observing, it's seen that which is ugly and not proportionate, not having no depth, no silence, no... Is it out there, or is it in the eye, or it has nothing to do with the eye, or with that outside? I'm asking you. Beauty is when you are not. Right?
Stop right there. I'm sorry. Because he's slapping you. Listen, beauty is when you're not. The you of it all is formed in early childhood by a work in progress that's broken, that's not telling you where the source of your own brokenness. So that which is unhealed is not beautiful. I'm sorry. I know you don't want to hear it put that way. That which is unhealed is your ugliness. It is your demon. It is your dragon. Do you see? So the ugliness in those that raised you taught you the Tao or the way of ugliness. Have you seen quote unquote family members that were women that used to be beautiful, that rally around the young, beautiful girl that's in the family, and they all got advice on how she should navigate and take advantage because they remember when? And then teach you can't have tolerance for someone that isn't of a certain ilk. It's almost like that man doesn't exist because you're too beautiful for that. You remember Kyla? Do I look like I would go 50-50 on anything? That's ugliness. In Ifa, in West African spirituality, you know what the argumentative version of the sapphire would be in Ifa? The argumentative, disrespectful, always combative woman. You know what she's called in West African spirituality known as Ifa? You know what she's called? She's called a Petebi. And there's a spiritual purpose for her. She's supposed to irritate you, to build your resistance, right? To transcend her presence. She's an Petebi. She's there to poke and up and up to the point where you develop as a man your internal resolve to transcend her altogether. She no longer exists after you conquer you. Petebi. Has the sapphire reemerged, or has she always been here? Cali Soul, Denver, Colorado. What are your thoughts?
Good evening, Brother Joe.
How are you tonight?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. This show is absolutely necessary and on fire. I just want to say that.
Oh, thank you, love. Well, you know, if I get you out of the woodworks, it must be popping.
Hear me as both.
Yes, here, man.
This society has done a great job on Black culture. It's crazy because they have beat us down for what we are, but everything that they are, most of society wants to be. We drive society. Even in our negativity, even in our toxicity, you see other cultures acting out our toxicity that has been showcased. And social media and all of these platforms, they do a good job of portraying us as what we're not, you know. And any conscious movement that has ever existed is always more like underground. So when it comes to the truth about Black femininity as a movement, it's an underground thing. Even though there are people that are out there in the forefront and doing the good fight like yourself, you know, like your show, the powers that be try to suppress your numbers and all of this stuff, right? But the shows that are ignorant, they pumping that up. That's who they give the marketing dollars to.
Right.
And we, as regular, everyday lay people, have even started to mimic that same behavior. Because now we have the power to pump up our fellow man, such as yourself. You're a conscious podcaster. You are a conscious radio host on terrestrial radio. And we have the power to push you up higher. And as a society, as Black society, we still throwing our money over into the swine bucket, right? And it's a choice. But like I said, as with any conscious movement, like it's always going to be more of an underground, silent thing. Like Patti LaBelle said back in the day, the revolution will not be televised. It's because, like with any strong movement, it just has to go. Have you ever heard of that song? I got 6 months to mind my business and 6 months to leave yours alone.
No, but I'm gonna find out.
It's an old song. But you know, I hate to put it like this, but I say throw it in the trash. If they don't want to listen to Sister Afua, and they'd rather listen to Cardi B and Glorilla and Sexy Red and all of that foolishness, like, you can't do nothing about that. That's what they're going to be inclined to listen to. It's just like Fela Kuti said, zombie. Zombie no go unless you tell him to go. Zombie no gonna stop unless you tell him to stop. Zombie no gonna think unless you tell him to think. You know, like, People are sitting up wide awake, sleep, and cool with it. And those that are not are not. And we're doing our work. It's an underground thing. We're building community. We're building our legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And just like there's nothing that we can do about the people that's wide awake sleep, it ain't nothing that they can do about the people that are awake.
Wow. Wow. Callie, you know I love you, child. I love you, girl. I need to hear from you more often. Guess what you just did for us?
Brought Denver into the building.
Denver, Colorado in the house. If you want to bring your city in the building and shine like Cali Soul just did, like Uncle Jimmy Ray, like Attila, and like Deaconess Nikki about to shine. All you got to do is call me 1-800-920-1580. Woo! Woo! Great calls. Great calls. Great calls. Are we on one tonight? Ida says the meal was good. It all comes down to choice, the red or the blue pill. Empress, I hear you. Definitely a good show. Sapphire. Ugh. Oof. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for hitting that like button. We're almost at 100 likes. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for going to my Cash App or going to the super chat. We only got one super chat. It came from our good brother John Gilbreth II. But I appreciate everybody for showing love, for showing up, for hitting the like button. I appreciate each and every one of the moderators for always catching the trolls and all the extra talk that I don't see that is inappropriate. I appreciate everybody for calling in, for answering the call to action. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. It is deeply, deeply, deeply appreciated. Great show. Updated rating 9.3. Cali Soul brought it home. You need a woman to bring it home. That's all. I'll get his show to Iyanla, and then you'll be like, it's a 10. Jeez, that first Faith Evans album, woo! Jeez. Come on. Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of reason, you already know what it is. My playlist is my co-host, and it's been on straight fire tonight. We needed a hot playlist to go with this hot topic, but you already know who's in the building and ready to cook with the rarest grease. You already know, Nikki from the Sip. Nikki, what are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Wow.
Let me get out your way. You go ahead and do what you do. Food for thought.
Well, here's the thing. There is a cushion sapphire, natural, valued presently around $700,000. Young ladies, do you want to be that? Or are you choosing to be something significantly less in value? Sapphires are created from heat and pressure. So if we have heat and pressure from our ancestry from the suppression, we have heat and pressure from our present day from oppression. You have heat and pressure between age groups of women, sometimes mothers and daughters. You want your mother to respond to you like your mom. In the presence of some men, she sees you as competition. That's heat and pressure. Sapphire hasn't gone away and is reoccurring. I don't think she's ever gone away. She just looks different. Children grow up and do what they see, not what you say. So if we're seeing what love is not, then we will grow up and that is what we will emulate. And then we'll look for it outside of the place that we are supposed to have it, which is internally. I said in my first comment, if you are in peace and at peace, you will not be well received by society. And definitely not if you're authentic. But it will attract men all the time. We don't teach that to young women. I also said young women, they don't want guidance. They want what you have. They don't want you. Maybe a young nurse.
Wait. They don't want us. They want what we have. Keep going. Lord have mercy.
That's different. And I'll just give a quick example. Young lady was fascinated because I was driving a BMW truck. And she kept saying something to me about that truck. And she wanted it. And I said, you want one like it? And she said, no, I want yours. See, that was important. And I said, I don't think you want either. I don't think you want one and you don't want mine. And she said, why? And I said, because you are not willing to do, nor are you capable presently to do what it takes to keep it. I have $6,000 worth of tires on my truck. Tires. I had that when the husband came. So, what you gonna do?
Come on, Nikki. Come on, Nikki.
See, I can be Sapphire and teach at the same time. It's not the fiery, putrid, or the soft and gentle. It can be both and. The lesson is learning how to balance the two and when to use it. Whether it be work or home or intimate relationships. If we're seeing, nobody ever asked, don't you think it's odd that we mad because we can't have TikTok because they may turn it off? But in the country where it originates, they don't even let their kids see that stuff?
Come on. I hear you. Come on.
Don't be in business. I'm saying a whole country doesn't let their children have access to that. But that doesn't seem to bother us. Food for thought.
I love you. You already know what it is. Guess what you just did, Nikki?
Abundance in the building. I still love everybody.
Come on, the sip is in the building. Deaconess Nikki from Mississippi. We love it. Breaking the cycle, reclaiming wholeness beyond strength. Carl Rogers posited that true self-actualization requires congruence between one's inner reality and external expression. Not much different than Carl Jung's idea of individuation, right? Where you integrate the shadow with the persona, the mask. If Black femininity today is a derivative construct engineered as a defense mechanism rather than an authentic identity, then self-actualization must involve the dismantling of these inherited archetypes and roles. The challenge, however, is that relinquishing this armor often feels like stepping into a void of non-existence. The fear of abandonment, the generational expectation of resilience, and the glorification of struggle all function as psychic anchors that tether Black women to an identity they did not create but have been forced to maintain. To step beyond Sapphire Purgatory is to recognize that independence without self-healing is self-destruction. Hyper independence is not empowerment, it is a trauma response. True strength lies in interdependence, not isolation. Healing requires confronting the illusion of empowerment. If strength was a necessity for survival, then softness must become a necessity for healing. Wholeness is the ultimate act of resistance. A liberated Black femininity is not derivative, performative, or transactional. It is a state of being that exists beyond the need for validation or struggle. 1-800-920-1580. You already know what it is. Listen, Zoe Williams starts these conversations, but it is entirely up to you to finish it. Go to Apple and hear it. It's going to be up shortly. You already know this is the start of the week. I got topics lined up. Let's keep cooking. I'll see y'all tomorrow with another slapper. Deuces. Fire show. Love y'all. Love everybody. As Nikki says, I love everybody. Straight banger. Fire. Love y'all. Good night. Deuces.